All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. Alright, and what I want to get into this morning, is embrace being off the radar. Embrace being off the radar. Because this truth, it's not about us. It's not about, us looking a certain type of way, us becoming these celebrities, alright, clout, vainglory, okay? No, we wasn't raised up and given this understanding, to go build a brand for us, okay? We was here to teach the elect, and this word wouldn't be popular to most of the world. And we speaking dealing with Israel first, most of our people, this word, wouldn't be popular. On the contrary, it will be spoken against. Okay? On the contrary, it will make us, outcasts. Okay? It will come with persecution, being lied on, slandered. Okay? And these are things that we have to embrace, and this is part of the cup that Yahweh Shah spoke of. So we came into the truth, man. We didn't come in, for instant gratification. Okay? We didn't come in to be popular and to be liked. No. Alright, this truth puts us off the radar. It makes us seem as if we're the problem. Something is wrong with us. We're off. You see? Okay? So we have to understand that being off the radar is a part of this truth, man. And we should embrace it. Because Yahweh Shah said, when you read the book of Mark chapter 10, verse 28, said, Then Peter began to say unto him, Lo, we have left all and have followed you. And Yahweh Shah answered and said, Verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake and the gospel's, okay? But he shall receive 100-fold now in this time, houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands, all right, with persecution, because we would be persecuted before we come into the payoff. And that's the thing, there's a payoff on the way. All right? But it takes patience, it takes faith to get to that point. We have to endure, the persecutions to get to that point of getting 100-fold. And it's going to keep multiplying. The kingdom is going to keep multiplying the things that we consider we lost on this side. Okay? Now, like it says, mothers, fathers, we know our fathers and mothers not going to come back as our father and mother, but they're going to come back as our children, man. And a little one should become 1,000, a small and a strong nation, man. A lot of people that we're around, like a lot of these people, we're going to bring them back, okay, as children in the kingdom, man. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they'll be back. Okay? We're gonna get everything back. We're gonna get everything back, everybody back. Okay? We haven't started to live yet, man. Okay? So we're off the radar until what Yahweh Shah activates us, man. Okay, verse 31 said, But many that are first, in fact, read this in the NLT. It's Mark 10 and 31 in NLT. But many who are the greatest now will be the least important then. And that's speaking with Esau. He's the greatest. Okay, but he's going to be the least important in the kingdom. Okay, he's going to be the least important. Even amongst the heathen, he's going to be the least. Okay, and it says, and those who seem least important now will be the greatest then. So yeah, we seem like we're the least important now. We're just niggas with Bibles. Disgruntled niggas with Bibles. They're just mad at white folks. Okay, you just disgruntled, all right, black men, okay, with Bibles. Okay, we think we're to this world we're irrelevant. What we're doing is irrelevant. Okay, what we're doing has no merit. It's not validated by this world. Okay, so through the lenses of society, we're the least important, but that's good because in order to be the greatest, we will have to be considered the least important. So we gotta embrace, hey, being the least, but understand with confidence that we serve the highest purpose in existence, man. Damn what these people think. We serve Yahweh Shai. And that's why we have to take it serious. We don't care about if they don't take it serious. No, we take it serious, man. Okay? And that's a thing of integrity as well, to take this thing serious when the world looks at it as a joke, as irrelevant. Okay? And for us to take it deadly serious, man. You see? And Yahweh Shai smiles on it. Okay? Now, when you go to here, because you go into the house of David, okay, back then, let's go to 1 Samuel 22. All right, this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 22, and verse 1. It said, David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And this is when he was on the run from King Saul. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him, and every one that was in distress, and every one, all right, that was in debt, and every one that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them, and there were with him about 400 men. So you had the misfits, the outcasts that gathered themselves into King David, before he was king. Okay? And with those 400 men, eventually, they became the superpower of the earth, man. Okay? They was out there to the wilderness. You had to think they was looked at as irrelevant, man. David and these ragtag men that he has with him, they was looked at as irrelevant. And what did the Lord do, man? He turned that to an empire. He turned King David and those 400 men to an empire, man. Okay? That governed the known world. Was the top government in the known world. You see, and the Lord's going to do that again on a much massive scale. Okay? So when they was out there in the wilderness, it was just, it was just them. You see, getting by, doing what they had to do. Okay, they was off the radar, man. They was out of sight, out of mind. Okay, but eventually, I say they will become the top government in the world. You see, and that's the quest we're on. We're off the radar now. Okay, but eventually, when Yahweh Shai comes, man, he's gonna promote us, man. He's gonna promote us himself. We're not looking to be promoted in this world. We don't need the likes and the validation of this world. Okay? We don't need to be popular in the cloud. No, we don't need none of that, man. We don't need to be accepted by, all the different platforms and other, nah, man. Okay? The community doesn't have to respect us and know us. And, we have to go shake hands and kiss babies like we politicking. Nah, we don't have to do none of that, man. Okay? We're off the radar. The Lord has us off the radar for a reason, man. We're separated for a reason. We looked at as the least important for a reason, man. And we know we're not the least important. And we know, that we serve, a high purpose, man. And it's not of us, it's our power. You see? So going from there, let's get this in, because one of the main reasons, the Lord has us separated is to tap in. Okay, we can tap in because we don't have to deal with, the hassles of celebrity, man. Okay? I say I embrace, not being checked for, not being looked for, okay, not being bothered. I love solitude. I absolutely love solitude, man. On the outside, man. Off the radar. You see? So when you go to the book of Sirach 38 and 24, And it reads, it said, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise. So we can tap in. Okay, we don't have all these obligations, okay, to this world. You see? You know, like I said, we don't have a celebrity schedule. We gotta be at this podcast, at this debate, at this, all right, turkey handout, at that place, at this place. Okay, schedule full of vanity, man. Nah, man, the Lord has it to where we're able to truly tap into wisdom, man. Truly tap into Yahweh Shah. You know, because we're off the radar. You see, we got our little jobs, our little situation, whatever, however brothers got it, man. But most brothers is what? Hey, off the radar, man. With little business. Okay, because this is the business here. This is the business. You see, Yahweh Shah, this is the business, man. Okay? This is what we pour into, man. This is that pearl of great value, man. Okay? And we're off the radar so we can tap into, all right, this pearl of great value, man, Yahweh Shah, which is ultimately what? The kingdom. You see? And when you go to, let's get this in Sirach, the book of Sirach, chapter 6. Because as we're separated off the radar for the sake of tapping into wisdom, what is this wisdom leading to? This Sirach 6:22, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. And that's one thing. It's a privilege that the Lord really allows us to tap into the wisdom. She's not manifest to many, and this is a privilege, man. You know, this is a rare thing for the Lord. The Lord don't put his spirit on everybody, his Rakakwadash, his Holy Spirit, to be able to go teach this word, to be able to believe this word, man. So whether you're a teacher, you know, or you're of the congregation of believers, okay, that's a rare thing. You see, wisdom is not manifest unto many. It says, give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy foot in her fetters, and thy neck in her chain. Yeah, we become a prisoner to this truth. As we're off, because we're not just off the radar in the corner, okay, just looking up, you know, at the ceiling. Nah, man, we tapped in. You know, hey, we bind ourselves by this wisdom, man. We put ourselves in prison to this wisdom, man. Okay? And it says, bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Yeah, man. Be not grieved, because the wisdom, part of wisdom is what? Restraint, discipline, patience. Okay? And that can be grievous, okay, to someone that's of the world. Okay? That do as thou wilt. Okay? Just do it, that impulsive. Okay? Unbalanced, you know, spirit. That's another thing. Wisdom is teaching us balance. As we're off the radar, you know, the Lord is really able to deal, you know, and mold us, man. But we're not, you know, constantly influenced, okay, by darkness, man. We're separated. We're off the radar. So the Lord can really mold and be hands-on and customize us to his liking for Yahweh Shai. Okay? And it says, come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go, man. So we're off the radar to tap in, you know, to search out wisdom. And that's a daily quest, man. That's something we can learn according to the scriptures daily, man. You see? It's a daily quest to search out wisdom, man. And eventually wisdom begins to flow unto us, man. You know, as we search, man, wisdom just begins to open itself up more and more, constantly just showing us nuggets and gems, you see, of understanding. And it said, verse 28, for at the last thou shalt find her rest, and thou shalt be turned, all right, it says, and thou shalt be turned to joy, okay, and that rest is the kingdom. There yet remains the rest. You know, everlasting joy is in the kingdom, but it begins with what? Being off the radar and tapped into this wisdom through faith. Okay? So being off the radar is a part of the process of becoming great in Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? It says, verse 29, then shall her feathers be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. That's royal talk. This king talk a robe of glory. You see? So the discipline is turning into a kingdom. Okay, the discipline, this faith, this wisdom is turning into a kingdom, and it's going to elevate into a kingdom. You see? It says, verse 30, for there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. You see how it transitioned into what? Rulership. A diadem. You know, there would be like a turban, you know, with a jewel in it. You know, rulers would wear. Men of, you know, high rank would wear. Purple lace, man. That's all highborn talk, man. Okay, but it begins with us being off grid before King David and those men got to enjoy palaces and the perks of rulership. Hey, they was off the radar, man. Not considered, looked at as irrelevant, out of sight, out of mind, and that's a beautiful thing. Okay, because it was in that time where he became a king off the radar. And David became a king off the radar, man. We're becoming kings off the radar. Okay? So when you go here, let's get we'll end it here. Sirach 11:5, it says, many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown. You see, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown. Okay? So we're not even considered. You know, and that's great because we know how the story go. Okay, we don't have to be considered, all right, of this world because the scriptures consider us, man. Okay, the scriptures let us know the end game. You see, and it's all in righteousness, man. So, yeah, just wanted to get into that, Lord will you, brothers. All right, and you few sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, and being great examples towards your brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation to the whole flex. Shalom.